Can you keep chickens with goats? Well, yes. Yes, you can. You gonna say hi, girls? Now, I would like to point out that the chickens and goats hang out together during the day, but this is the goat's house. The chickens have their own house. And the reason that they have separate housing is for a couple of very important reasons. So let's go over those. Because if you are going to keep chickens and goats together, you really need to consider this information. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems. But before we get into that, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any cool goat stuff. That's my ring katana. You can't eat that. Anyway, that way we don't miss any of the fun stuff. Or the crazy stuff either. If you're going to keep goats and chickens together, like I said, you need to make a couple of special accommodations to keep everyone safe, happy, healthy, and producing. First, let's talk about water. You'll notice we've got a fancy water system right here for our goats. This is for two reasons. We've actually got the bucket down here too, because that's what our goats are used to, and they're still pretty new here on our homestead. So we've still got the bucket because we want to transition them. However, they are learning, as Katana is proving here, that they are transitioning to this other watering system. We picked this system because it has a lid on it. Remember, bucket has no lid. And well, chickens poop everywhere. But goats want clean, fresh water. They don't mind if it's a little warm, but it's got to be clean. So we are transitioning our goats to this other system here to make sure that they've always got fresh water on demand. On the flip side, the chickens also need fresh water. And we use this particular waterer here, which if you want to see my review on it, then make sure you check out this video here, or check out the whole chicken playlist, because I'll go through a whole series of different watering and feeding systems so you can see what works for your chickens. But this is the one that we use. All right, now let's go on to feed. We have a feeding system for our chickens that uses a dowel connected to an eye rod that the chickens peck, and then it releases food on demand. We do this for a couple of reasons. One, it minimizes the risk of pests like rodents. And second, that way there's not food that's just laying out, because otherwise the goats would eat it. And chicken food is formulated for chickens and not for goats. And as you'll notice here, the goats can still get into the chicken run. We do try and discourage it. Hey. But we do have to be aware of the fact that they can get in, and that's why we don't want to have food just out all of the time. Yep, there she goes. Let's go get her out. Next, for housing, you want to make sure that the chickens and goats have separate housing so that all of their needs are met. Our chickens have a coop where they can safely hide from the goats if need be, and where they can lay their eggs. The entrance is up this ramp, and that is too small for the goats to get up, even if they do manage to get into the chicken run. The goats, on the other hand, don't seem to mind too much if the chickens try and hang out with them during the day, which is awesome, because when the chickens get hot, they want to hang out with the goats because it's nice and cool in the goats' shack. As far as chicken poop and goat poop, well, both animals tend to just let it go wherever they're at, which means that there is chicken poop and goat poop all over this pasture, which is just part of our backyard, which is totally fine. We have actually fenced it off from our kids' play area so that they're not walking through poop, because goats and chickens can both get various parasites and worms that, well, even if they don't harm humans, I don't want any sharing. One nice thing though about having the goats and chickens share a pasture is that the chickens do forage, and so because they're out there pecking and scratching, they are breaking apart the goat manure, which means that it does break down faster. That seems to really help with the smell, especially during the warm months. The goats and chickens also really like to play with each other. The goats have discovered that Chase the Chicken is a really fun game. They learned it from the dog and the kids, the human kids. It's one of the human kids' favorite games too. So all told, having goats and chickens together is a lot of fun, and it's worked out really, really well for us. You just, like I said, you need to make a few plans in advance so that feed and water can be kept safe and sanitary. You just need to make a few plans in advance so that feed and water can be kept separate and sanitary so that all of your animals stay healthy, happy, and laying eggs or making milk or whatever it is that you've got them for. If you found this information to be helpful, again, please give it a like. And Clover says, don't forget to subscribe.